Can the Seattle Seahawks be a 10-win team this year? Welcome back on into the channel, everyone. It's In the Trenches with Will Ortner, a Couch GM podcast, and the NFL schedules just got released. We're going to go through the Seahawks schedule game by game, give you a quick preview of what I think the Seahawks are going to be able to do in 2024. First, they're starting off at home against the Denver Broncos. I think that's an easy win. Best case scenario, you are going to go up against an inferior offense, whether it's because Bo Nix is taking the helm. That's a rookie quarterback, first start in CenturyLink. He's going to struggle. Or you're going up against Zach Wilson. I think you get after him. I think you rattle him. Just because you got a change of scenery doesn't mean all of a sudden he turns into the potential that everyone thought he was going to have. I think you dominate that game. The next week, you're on the road. You're taking on New England. New England is a dumpster fire right now. It doesn't matter who's starting at quarterback between Brissett. They are rebuilding, and it's the first time they've been rebuilding in this century. You are going to go out and absolutely dominate that game and dominate that win. Next, this is a real bummer for Seahawks fans and for the Seahawks. You're going up against the Dolphins, and you're going up against them in September. Yes, it's a home game, so that's going to be nice. They have to travel all the way from Miami up. But the Dolphins dominate the warm weather parts of the year. They dominate with how fast McDaniel can get that team going. Offensively, they're able to run the ball. Tua slings the rock around. I think that's where Seattle has their first loss of the year. That being said, you start out the year 2-1. Love that spot. You end the month on the road, Monday Night Football, taking on the Lions. That's another tough one. You were able to win last year in Detroit. I think you can still win this game this year. That Detroit team, I really like what Campbell's doing out there. Offensively, they run the ball. They beat you up. This defense is going to be improved from last year, but is this going to be the McDonald defense when he was in Baltimore? No, absolutely not. It's going to be better. You're going to be stronger, but I don't know if that's enough to get the job done. I think you come out of September 2-2, and I think you have to be happy about that. Then October 6th at home, you're going to take on the Giants. You dominate that game. I don't like anything that's coming out of New York. Daniel Jones is not the guy. That defense isn't great. Their running back room just got weaker. Yeah, they've got a little bit better of a wide receiver core now. They got neighbors over there. I don't think it's happening. When I look at this one, I think you're 3-2 heading into your first matchup on Thursday Night Football against San Francisco. I don't think you're there yet. If you have an opportunity to surprise anybody, surprise me, myself, it would be this Thursday night game. You're at home. You know, you're taking on San Fran. Maybe you reach up, you grab McDonald, has some, tricks up his sleeve. Maybe he's able to figure something out. I think you probably lose that one. So right now you're looking at it. You're probably 3-3, middle of October. I don't hate that position for you. I think it's actually a really good spot. Then you're on the road. You're in Atlanta. It's an early morning game. I still think that you're able to beat the Falcons. Here's why. If offensively, you are able to put up 21 to 35 points, somewhere in that range. You just need a turnover or a couple stops defensively. I like what Atlanta is doing, but I also kind of worry that Atlanta might be a dumpster fire. Like everyone says Kyle Pitts can be great, but we haven't seen it. Is that because they didn't use him or because he never put himself in the position to be used? I like Drake London. I like Bijan Robinson. I like Algier. But with drafting Michael Penix, does that now mess up some of the stuff with Kirk Cousins? If they decide to leave Penix on the bench, how does Kirk Cousins come back from his Achilles, right? That's a big-time injury for someone so later on in their career. Is he able to come back and be the same guy? If he's not able to come back and be the same guy, this is a round where you start looking at making the move to the rookie quarterback. You're going up against a rookie quarterback. I think this is a game that you can go out there and win. So right now, I've got the Falcons as a W. So that puts Seattle another win in the column. So right now, you're looking at a Seattle team that you probably got 4 wins. Now, here's where you get into your quote-unquote gauntlet. You're going up against Buffalo. You get Buffalo at home. Buffalo's a weird team. I'm still going to mark this down as a loss. What Buffalo is having to do is they're trying to reload right now. They had too many guys who are high paid, who are old. The problem is it's still Josh Allen and Buffalo. I think that they come into CenturyLink, and I do think they win that game. Where you might get lucky here is because it's Josh Allen, he can have a 3 or 4 turnover game. If you can force a couple turnovers of Josh Allen on the road, that game turns into a win. I'm going to mark it down as a loss. So right now, if you're looking at this Seahawks team, you are 4-4 heading in. You're taking on the Rams. I'm going to give that one a win. It's at home. That's a rivalry game. You guys play each other really, really well. But here's the thing. The whole reason you went out and got McDonald is to go out and beat Sean McVay, beat Kyle Shanahan. I think that you're able to get the job done here. I think that Stafford is going to start taking regression steps back. He's old, man. He's been beat up. You start looking at the all-time list, all of a sudden Matthew Stafford's popping up there, not just because he's a good quarterback, but because he's old. If you're able to get after him, this is where I think the defense really starts to shine because everyone's starting to get used to each other. They're starting to be able to do things without having to make calls. This is where I think you start to see the true McDonald defense come into the fold. You're going to have a bye week, week 10, week 11. You're on the road taking on San Francisco. This actually is kind of where I wish the schedule was flipped. If you were on a bye and you got San Fran at home, then I really do think you can make some noise. I think this is a loss here. So now we're looking at a very mediocre 5-5. Okay. Then you're at home against Arizona. I think you beat the brakes off Arizona. I am not a believer in what's going on down there right now. It's a good Arizona team, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be young. Can Kyler Murray get the ball to him? Can Kyler Murray stay healthy through a whole year? How's that offensive line looking? How's that defense looking? I don't like what's going on in Arizona. I think you win that game. That gets you to 6 wins. Then you're taking on the Jets December 1st. I am not a believer in New York. Aaron Rodgers is old, coming off an Achilles. That offensive line, yeah, you revamped it. You brought in a bunch of older veterans. Guess what? The problem with those veterans that you brought in on that O-line is they're freaking older and they're injury prone and they get hurt. I think that the Seahawks are going to be able to beat New York. I don't think the Jets are a playoff team. I really don't think they're that good. Defensively, they're fine. They're not like, wow, lighting the world on fire. Like, yeah, you're good, but you get put on the field too much. You're old offensively. I think that's a win as well. So now all of a sudden the Seahawks have 7 wins. You're now taking on Arizona again on the road. That's a game that you could, would, and should win. Boom. You now have 8 wins going into your final 4 games this year. You're taking on Green Bay Sunday Night Football. It's at home. That one's going to get weird. I am a big Jordan Love believer, but you know who isn't? Vegas. Vegas doesn't have the over-under total for Green Bay very high. I want to say last time I saw it, it was right around that 8.5 mark. I think that this is the one that you have a shot to go out and win. I've already said that you're going to lose the Monday Night Football and the Thursday Night Football. I think that you're able to go up and sneak up on these Packers. If you do lose to Green Bay, that's fine. That's a tough game. I think you have an opportunity to win that one. I'm going to mark that down as a win. Now you're putting this Seahawks team at 9 wins. Then you're at home, final home game of the year, December 22nd, taking on Minnesota. Minnesota's clearly revamped. They're in a rebuild. You should win that game. You should win that game easy. Now, all of a sudden, you are a 10-win team. You have 2 final games going. You got the Bears. You got the Rams. I think that you're able to beat the Bears. What worries me right now with the Bears is like as good as they could be, it's still the freaking Bears. Caleb Williams is going to go through a lot of growing pains. I'm going to mark this one down as a win, but this is also one of those games where you'd rather have this one flipped with the Miami game, right? Like if Seattle was playing Chicago week 3, I like your chances a lot more because he's still going through those young quarterback transitions, trying to understand how to play in the league, getting them later. That's a struggle bus for you. I think he's going to be much more revamped and ready to go. If you split the Chicago Green Bay games 1-1, I really like your chances there. Like I said, I'm going to give it a win with the Chicago one. I'm going to give the Green Bay game a win. So that puts you at 11 wins. Now you're taking on the Rams on the road, probably lose that one. I look at this Seahawks team. If they do everything that they could and should, I think that this is a 10-win team, or at least has the potential to get to those 10 wins. So Seattle fans, yes, you're not a Super Bowl contender right now. Absolutely not. But the way that the team has played over the last couple of years, the way McDonald could build a defense, I do think that this is a playoff team. Probably not an NFC West title team, but you're going to be in the conversation, and you're going to be in the conversation the last month and a half or so of the season. So if you're looking for a high draft pick, get a big time quarterback next year, probably not going to happen. Geno Smith and crew, I think they're going to be good enough to win a lot of football games here. Thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure that you click the subscribe button, subscribe to In the Trenches, subscribe to the Couch GM so that we can make more videos like this for you. And as always, thanks for checking us out.
Oh, look at this run. What a run. Marshawn Lynch still on his feet. Has blockers now. He's dancing his way for the touchdown.